On this episode of Three Black Guys with the Mic, Mysonne NY General is joining us to talk about hip-hop, politics, and new music. Plus, Isiah from FullCircleNation.com is here to talk about entrepreneurship, the Grammys, Tyler the Creator, and much more. It's all going down on this episode of Three Black Guys with the Mic.
First of all, let me tell you something. Lamont is just full of
Sometimes my mama said, you know, when you don't have nothing nice to say, you should be quiet.
People say that Stephen A. is a coon. You agree with that? Everybody got quiet on that one? Okay. Go ahead.
Rudy Giuliani practices voodoo. What? So he put a voodoo hex on my girl, Hillary, and that's why she got woozy. And the Secret Service had to prop her up and put her in the van.
But take us to a break, my dude.
It was voodoo, son.
I don't know about that voodoo.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, welcome. This is Three Black Guys with a Mic. What do we do in the new year? We always try to change our eating habits. We want to be better, we want to eat healthier, and we want to make sure that we're putting the right things in our body. So we want to make sure that we're eating fresh food for 2018. No more frozen food. That's why we're sending you to Wendy's. Guess what? Wendy's is even gotten bigger on the 4 for $4. Now you got 8 choices instead of 4 choices. Yes, a junior bacon cheeseburger, a junior cheeseburger deluxe, a double stack, crispy chicken sandwich, a crispy chicken BLT, a grilled chicken wrap, or a spicy chicken wrap. You can get all that with a 4-piece nugget, a small drink, and a fry. All at Wendy's. So head over to Wendy's, get yourself something fresh for lunch or dinner, or if you're just in the mood for a snack. So head over to Wendy's right now and get yourself a Wendy's 4 for $4 with 8 choices. Offer not valid in Alaska and Hawaii. Now, back to the show. Mysonne, as we get started, first of all, thank you so very much for joining us. I saw your BET Cypher. You said on there that in 2018 that Oprah was going to cougar you. Today is her birthday. I just want to see if she gave you the call yet.
Not yet. It's coming. She working on it.
I just wanted to see if Oprah, she ain't got to you yet.
Nah, she just trying to figure out the approach because she know everybody watching, so she don't want to. She know if she get my DMs that they might, they get crazy. So she trying to figure out how she gonna get to me.
Let me ask this, man. I got to start a little bit of controversy with my man Lamont. Lamont is your man. And we had an argument, a couple of months back about Funkmaster Flex and his validity in the city of New York. Now, your Flex freestyle is fire, and that is probably by far one of the best freestyles that Flex has ever done. Now, Lamont says that Flex don't got no juice no more in New York.
So wait. That was the wrong set. That was Spud. That was the wrong setup. That was the wrong setup.
I'll say it.
We can run the tape. We can run the tape.
Lamont said that Flex is not the king of New York no more.
There we go.
I just wanted to know directly from Mysonne, is Flex the king of New York on the radio?
Well, if he's saying he's not the king of New York, I would ask him who is.
Well,
Lamont, who is?
Well, now watch this. In my opinion, I don't know if I feel like this generation of listeners to Hot 97 or even power in the marketplace, I don't think there is a king. I think we have some very strong princes, but to me, a king is someone who has no competition, and it's just my opinion. I feel like Clue is just. Is that a tap? Is that a tap? Is that a tap? I'm just saying, son, listen. I'm just feeling like, Clue is strong in the market as well. So I just don't know, it was a time when Flex had it all, but I think Clue is kind of like right in there with him. Now, if we want to go who might jump out, but the king, I don't know. I just don't feel the king right now. I
think based on history, just based on the fact that they both are the longest running DJs, pretty much. Not really the longest, but the longest running mainstream DJs, radio DJs that we've had on the radio, that's a conversation. But I think when it comes as far as music being broke in New York City, I think Flex is pretty much the quintessential place that artists that from New York, not from New York, go when they need their records broke. I don't think Like Clue is a dope DJ. I love him. You know, he's a iconic DJ for what he's done to the game. But I haven't heard records that Clue has broke in New York in years. Like there's no artist that Clue can say, "Yo, I broke this artist," and I can unequivocally say that I know records that nobody was playing that Flex has taken and made the records into when nobody was playing them. Like what Clue is doing is if you hot in Atlanta and you give him a record and you already been hot in Atlanta, he plays an Atlanta record. Flex is the only DJ that breaks New York artists' music. And only person that you can go to get your record played, if you're freestyle, if you go to know that you go on the Funk Master Mix and do a freestyle that is going to get you publicity, that you're going to get one of the biggest looks in New York. It's like, who would you say is the king? If everything that's equated to New York, the artists from New York got to go to Flex to get it, for it to get them hot. I don't see how you can say anybody else is the king. With the exception of, and on a real, even though K Slay is underground, but he is the first gateway to the platform to you getting the Flex.
Unequivocally.
Then Slay gets you the underground momentum, and then Flex takes it to the next level to where you might get you some shows and some bookings in New York. But ain't no other DJs getting that done for nobody.
Okay, let me just say this, and I'm gonna park it right here, and I'm gonna try to switch it up because they're gonna say I'm tap dancing. I might be.
You still tap dancing.
Let me finish. Let me finish.
You sound a little shook right now, Lamont.
You are a little shook. But he didn't know I was gonna go there. He didn't know I was gonna hit him with that.
Yeah. You hit me in the stomach. But let me say, like with LeBron, right now at the end of the day, I don't think that there's anybody in the NBA that can match up pound for pound with LeBron James, right? Even though I'm not the biggest LeBron fan on the court, off the court, I think he's amazing on how he does his business, his family, the people he got around him, how he moves. He's the bomb. But on the court, LeBron James is the king of the NBA, in my opinion. I just feel like with Flex, who, like you said, he is iconic. He's done so many amazing things, you know what I'm saying? On the air, off the air. I even come from the era where I really enjoyed Homie's the car show he used to have on the Speed Channel back in the day. You know what I'm saying? So I would see all of these things, and I just don't feel like now that same king-ish is there, because even though Clue might not be able to break the records, he still kind of give him, it's a little competition there. But again, if we want to put that label on him, that's cool, but I still gotta try to say.
But yo, listen to me. I'm in New York, right?
Right.
And it ain't too many people that listen to Clue on the radio. I'm just being honest. Like, and it's not disrespect. Like, I love Clue. I see him, but it's not like he plays records, the same records that everybody else is playing. You're not gonna hear like a new record that you never heard of before. He's gonna play the records that everybody is playing, and I mean that doesn't make you somebody that's a king. Like Flex is taking a chance and he breaking records. Like when nobody's playing Tasaki 6ix9ine, he was the first person that played it. Like when nobody was playing A Boogie, he was the first person playing A Boogie. Like if you ask any New York artist who was the first person playing their records, they're gonna tell you Flex before anybody else was doing it. So if you still have that ear and you still creating that platform and you still the one that people go to get that Flex bomb on your record, right? Then I mean, I don't see how we can really argue. And then when you
you sound a little like Henry in the Goodfellas when Tommy was getting to it. You backing up on Flex a little bit. You might crack under pressure one of these days.
but the bottom line, but it also, just to sum it up. But when you look at the ratings, and Flex make sure he says this every day, that he's beating y'all in the ratings for the last 8 or 9 months, that he's beating everybody. He's the #1 New York radio DJ in the nation. And he says this shit all day. So
this is the I think the bigger question though, sir. Is New York, so when I was a kid, NY was, always X number of years ahead of the country. And, You know, you look at what Joe Budden is saying and some others are saying, like, yo, Atlanta is winning. And so it's no longer, is New York as important as it used to be?
Okay, now that's a different question.
Mm-hmm.
Because what happens is the New York, and the reason why New York, and that's what Flex has made a conscious effort, because he realized that he once contributed. They went outside of New York and said, yo, we're going to get the artists and make them hot. And then when they started realizing that those artists had no allegiance to them, because I don't know you just playing my records and you make my record hot, and that shit is cool. But the DJ in Atlanta is my man. So my allegiance is to them. So when they started realizing they couldn't get none of these dudes to come perform or do anything for them, they wasn't booking them when they came. They was coming with their own DJs and all this, and they couldn't even get them to do an interview on the radio or come up and do nothing they was doing. They realized that they had to come home, and he realized that he needed artists in his backyard to be able to do that. And if none of them was hot, then how the fuck you gonna be hot as a DJ? So yeah, what you saying is right. Atlanta is hot is because they DJ stick to the script. You're not gonna go to Atlanta and hear more New York music than you hear in Atlanta. You might hear a nigga you never heard because he the dude next door neighbor because he from Atlanta. The New York DJs don't think like that no more. They gonna play whenever somebody is hot. If you hot in Atlanta, they gonna play it here. And you can have a good song, and then you'll play it. They'll play it and be like, yo, nobody ain't moving to it, man. You got to get it hot first. I never heard a DJ until now saying you got to make a record hot before they play it. The DJ's job used to be to break the record and make it hot. But now we're in an era where the DJ tells you that you got to make the record hot.
I remember being in New York and listening to K Slate on the radio. This is when the whole Atlanta scene was like, growing. And, it was when New York didn't play music outside of New York. It just only focused on New York. And I remember K Slate was on the radio like, yo, I'm not playing no Little John music. I'm not playing none of that. I'm sticking to, the people that's in New York. That's who I'm focused on. And he was going off on the radio stations and the people in the city and the whole nine just because at that time, the Atlanta music, the Snap and Lil Jon and, I guess all that music, it was just like taking over. And he was like, I'm not even with it. But anyways, we ain't called to talk. We ain't want to talk to you about Flex. I'm sure we could talk about that the whole time. I want to dive into, criminal justice because mass incarceration is a hot button right now. A lot of people are talking about it. A lot of people, are really starting to pay attention to it. You did 7 years for a crime you didn't commit. You were accused of something that you didn't do. We all looked at the Khalif Browder story. He did, 3 years at Rikers Island for a crime he didn't commit. You said that if you would have cooperated with the police, you would have never went to jail. And is that one of the issues, when it comes to criminal justice actually taking a plea bargain? We hear that a lot. So is that really the issue when it comes to men being incarcerated?
I think it is. I think the bottom line is they trying to get convictions, and it's at whatever cost they can. It's not like they care about the life that they earn. So when you young or you feel like, damn, I got a felony, and in this case right here, if I try to take this to trial, the fact that I'm already a convicted felon for something that's similar, I might end up doing 10, 15 years. Let me cop out and take this 2 years. Let me cop out and take this. Or you young and they railroading you into shit and you don't even understand the law. You don't understand half of the procedures that's going on. You just think that you innocent, so you ain't going to jail. So you like, well, I'm going to take it to trial. So and it's not like they have a bunch of evidence against you. It's just that you don't have no evidence. You haven't prepared a proper defense because you just saying I wasn't there. Nah, that wasn't me. You don't realize that you got the extent, and especially if you don't get a paid lawyer that understands or cares enough to tell you like, listen, man, you need an alibi. Was you here? You need a statement from this person. Oh, you was there. Can you get a videotape to show you like? These are things that a paid lawyer is going to go through to make sure that everything is shown, to your defense, to make sure that your defense is ironclad. But when you go there with these public defenders, they just buying time. They saying, oh, we want to postpone. We haven't really looked over our case yet. you're out of the next, you know, you buying time, and it's a year later, and you're not even really focused on it that much because you think it's really nothing. They're like, oh, don't worry about it. Just come back to court in 3 months. We're gonna keep, and you just going through the motions, and then the judge tell you, all right, we need to start trial now. 2 years later, and this lawyer's never really prepared for your case. He don't give a damn about it. So now he looks in. He says, so all right, so tell me what's going on now. He's like, all right, well, that's just our defense. Can you get somebody to come in and just and say, just give a character reference, or you get somebody and this is your defense. It ain't no real effort put into it because you're not paying them. They're not being paid. It's not as serious. Now, when you pay a lawyer, they going through the third degree. They sitting you down, they asking you questions. They telling you, look, you need to come to court in a suit every day to present yourself a certain way. You need to, certain mannerisms in court gives a jury a certain idea of who you are, prestige. Like, you don't know this shit. You a dude coming to court, you got your t-shirt on, you got your little cardigan, and you chilling, and you just leaning, and you just like, you know, you there. You like, I ain't this shit. But you don't understand that a jury just looking at you like another hoodlum that they see around their block. And most of these juries are picked to make sure that they see you that way, because they picking older people that already have a stigma of who you are, or people that's not of the same nationality as you are that already see you as an animal. So this is what we're dealing with.
So, you know, I think one of the questions I want to know, and lots of people will be interested in. So, you know, you did this time, and the court case was whatever length of time that was. How did that stop you from building your resume? Obviously, by going inside, you know, we recognize it, but like, where were you going? What was your trajectory that you were on prior to this whole thing going down?
Oh man, when I got signed,
wasn't you on Violator? Wasn't you signed to Violator?
Yeah, I was signed to Violator. I got signed to Violator in the like December of '98, and ended up, and I went to jail in I want to say August of '99.
Mm-hmm.
So I was signed for about a good 6 months. Album was pretty much done. You know, we was just putting together the whole process. You know, I remember I went to jail. And the day before I was supposed to do the Vibrant Thing remix.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was supposed to go to the studio on Saturday, and I went to jail on Friday. So I never got to be on that remix. I never got to do the I was supposed to go on the Rough Rider tour when I was on that first album. You know, we were supposed to do the Violator tour. I never got to see anything. And I was pretty much, I had a whole bidding war when I first got signed. Jermaine Dupri flew me out. I was supposed to get Columbia. I had like 4 meetings with Puff. That's when Entertainment was there. I was originally supposed to sign with Un. So I was scared to be one of the biggest artists. Like, you know, everybody was like, yo, this kid is nice. That's when battling was big. DMX had took me under his wing at that time. You know, I went with like 2 or 3 cities with him to the Hard Knock Life tour. We had recorded songs together. So, you know, the writing was pretty much on the wall that I was scheduled to be one of the next big artists. Jadakiss, I remember Jadakiss, I did an interview, and Jadakiss was telling somebody like, man, if he wouldn't have got locked up, he would have probably been as big as Jay-Z, you know, because it was that the hype was there and the music was there too. Because I remember I played him and Styles, my album coming, we was coming from the Hard Knock Life tour, and I was just playing the music, and he was just like, yo, nah, this shit is different. I played it for Puff. And he was like, nah, this is a real album. Like, I ain't know you was this inclined. I just thought you could rap. You know what I'm saying? They didn't know how musical I was. So I really believe that had I not got locked up, you know, that my success would have been like beyond something that even that I understood. But, you know, it is what it is.
How did you get to Violator? You know, did Chris Lighty, you know, seek you out, or did Mona seek you out, or, you know, how did that form to you getting signed to Violator?
Well, I got signed to Violator my manager, Tone, he found me in the streets. My partners, it was 3 of us actually, and we used to call ourselves the Cartel. And they ran into him in a barbershop that a friend of ours owned. And they was rhyming in the barbershop. So he was like, yo, y'all dope. And I wasn't there. So, he said, yo, I want to meet with y'all. And they like, yo, well, it's 3 of us. You got to meet our other friend. He's dope too. So when I came and met him, when I started rhyming for him, he's like, yo, you got something special. And then he took me to first place he took me to was Un. That's when, Un was originally, this was when Cam first got signed. This is Cam had just put out Magnum PI and all that. So they wanted to sign me right there. I went there and freestyled to like 10 beats. And Un was like, yo, we went and recorded a song that day. They really wanted to record me. But then what happened was when they found out about my case, they said, oh, nah, we ain't even going to get involved with it. So they backed up. And then, I just kept going along. And then my manager took me to Chris Lighty. He took me to Chris Lighty, and Chris was like, yo, he's from the Bronx too. We want to sign him. Like, I want to sign him. And he immediately, he was coming to my house like every other day, like, yo, we want to sign you. I'm telling you, I could do this, I could do this. And then it just, his approach, and Chris was, and he was from the Bronx, and he's like, yo, my whole thing is I just want to see the Bronx on top. And it was just love, man. So I had a bunch of different...
How did his death, affect you? Did you get the opportunity to see him before?
Yeah, man, because I came home and he died like a couple of years later, and we was like getting back in communication. Like, we had not seen each other for a while since I came home. That's when he was doing a lot of stuff with 50 at that time. And then and he started communicating. He had seen some music I was doing. He would text me and be like, yo, that song is dope. I think this is dope. Like, I'm saying, keep doing what you're doing. I reach out to him for mentorship and a lot of different things. And then when he passed, man, it was like, damn, man, this is one of the first people that believed in me. So, I was at the funeral when, and paid my respects, but it was kind of hard.
So, my son, let's change gears a little bit. Let's talk about your activism. Because I know me personally, we follow you and we feel your energy and how you definitely promote that, not just in your music, but in your action. Let's talk about I want to make sure I got the correct borough, where there was a very large apartment fire, and all of those people that was in the Bronx. The people, Bronx, right? Yep, people that were displaced. Tell everybody a little bit about that. Tell about what you did and like what motivates you and your activism, because I feel like I don't know if I want to term it hip hop activism, but it just feels like with you having that hip hop moniker on you and that activism piece, it kind of feels right to me, and I think that that's something that needs to be highlighted and people need to know, other than some of the other things that may not be so positive in this hip hop thing that we have. So tell everybody about that and what motivates you.
Well, I just feel like you got to pay it forward. I think. And I always feel like it's a calling for me. I always, even as a kid, man, I always was against injustice and seeing people being wrong. So the activism came, I think my activism was activated during Trayvon when I was shooting a pilot for a mini series in Florida right when they were reading the verdict. And I remember being in my hotel room and, and just assuming that the man was going to be found guilty. And when he was found innocent, I remember crying like a little kid. At that point I had a 7-year-old son. And I was just thinking to myself, and my son was 10 years old. And I was thinking to myself, like, what am I going to say to my son after this? Like, how do you explain something like this to your child, knowing that this could be him or could have been him? And I wrote a spoken word and did a video for it called "What Did I Say to My Son," and I think that was like the first time I was really impacted. And and I think after that, I met some people who were forming an organization called the Justice League, and we started with speaking to kids in detention centers because I always wanted to make sure that the youth didn't have to go through the same thing that I went through. That they didn't have to go to prison and be disenfranchised and deal with all the things that I had to deal with. So while at that time we were doing that, and then that's when Eric Garner was killed. And then from there we were like one of the first organizations that took to the streets, and it's been down. It's been history ever since. But I think for me, man, I think being hip hop and understanding that words and your voice is so important, and hip hop is the biggest platform in the world, and and having mentors like Louis Farrakhan who have sat me down and made me understand that the artists and Harry Belafonte who made me understand that artists are the gatekeepers of truth, and that that we have an obligation not to just utilize your voice to entertain, but to educate, to call to action, to make the world better, and I think if you look at all our great leaders, it's because they use words. Words are the most important things in the world. So if we don't utilize our words to uplift and make something better, then I think that we're doing ourselves as artists with platforms a disservice, and also doing the world a disservice.
But you guys did. I'm sorry, real quick, man. So you guys did a fundraiser on GoFundMe. Did you guys reach the goals that you were trying to achieve?
No, we still raising money. We just got Angie Martinez just donated $10,000 last week. We still I think we had about 30-something thousand right now. So we're moving. It's an uphill. But seeing people give their money to donate to people who have been disenfranchised, who have lost all and just based off the community, not based off anything else. It was just community people, folks coming together. I did this with a young woman who was from the Bronx named Shanika Charles, and another woman named Kimberly who is also from the Bronx. And these young women had contacted me the day of, because I was about to put together my own fundraiser, and they said, listen, we want to do this together. And I knew that they were really serious, and I knew that they were from the community. And I said, all right, I don't want to just align myself with somebody else that's going to do it, just because it's what's in, or let me just align myself and look like I'm doing something. I want to align myself with people who I see on these front lines doing the work with me on a normal. And these are people that I always see in the communities whenever there's something going on. They're always advocating and giving their time and their money and their energy to trying to make things better. So, we still at this point, we're trying to build homes. We're trying to build a home for these people who there's a whole family who lost 4 members of their family, and it's still about 10 of them. They come from I think Jamaica, and they're very proud people, but they lost everything in this fire. So we've taken on the initiative to try to build. We've got in contact with a company and an organization that's going to donate some housing to them and have up to about a year or 2 of the rent paid up front. But our ultimate goal is to try to find, a place to build a home for them so that they don't have to deal with that anymore.
So you mentioned some luminaries, some big names. Let me not use the word luminary. Some big names in Farrakhan, Harry Belafonte, and so on. And, these are people who have ascended to their leadership and have been leaders for years. And in the hip hop industry, by you coming out and coming into you're Mysonne NY General. You want to be the general, and that's dope. At the same time, there are cats who've been out and who are bigger, for instance, like a Jay-Z or whatever, like he's at the top of the game. How hard is it to ascend to the leadership, particularly when the leadership that we had in the past, for instance, like a Chuck D, like Poor Righteous Teachers, like when Conscious was really dope, and now it's you know, hip hop is all, you know, well, so much of it is about lean and, you know, twerking and shaking that ass and Percocets and all that. How difficult is it for you to change the narrative, especially not being the, you know, the biggest artist in the game and do what you're doing?
I think for me, it's about finding a balance, you know, and all these artists that you speak of are icons and people that I've idolized, you know. But I always wondered why Tupac's music and his everything outlasted everybody's. And what it was that there was a balance. There was some part of him that everyone could appeal to. It was the streets loved the fact that he was a rebel and he would talk thug life. The girls loved the fact that he was able to make songs and appeal to them. And then there was this revolutionary political side of Pac that everybody was pretty much gravitated to. You know, some people gravitated to different things. And I think what it is you have to be able to teach people within their ignorance. And this is what Farrakhan said to me. He said, don't change what you do. Don't do what I do. Because if you do what I do, then you're going to speak to the same people I'm speaking to. I don't need you to be able to reach the people I'm speaking to. I need to be able to reach the people that you're speaking to. So you got to figure out, how do you continue to do what it is that you do and appeal to them, but to make the message just a little different to where you dig. It's like you healing them and they don't know they're being healed. It's like cherry flavored cough drops. The medicine is in there, but it tastes like cherry. So that's what it is to me. You understand what I'm saying? You don't even know that it tastes so good that you don't even realize that there's no medication in there. So that's what it is for me. It's like, I think a lot of our former leaders, the conscious music, it was just so conscious that a person from the street wasn't able to grasp it as much as they might have wanted to. So me understanding that I was once one of the hardest artists, but I know I had that revolutionary and that political and that, you know, conscious side of me. So how do you balance that? How do you tell people to go where you going if they don't feel like they can connect to you? So you gotta figure out how to merge the two worlds. You might have to take the beats that they love and change one word on the chorus to where it still has that same feel, but the message is still real. It's as real as anything else. Somebody, you ain't telling them to kill each other no more. You tell them, yeah, I remember when I used to want to kill somebody. Then my mind told me, then I started to elevate and realize that we was just killing each other. You understand what I'm saying? It's like, and the reason why I took the theme for my album that I created, and it's called OG Bobby Johnson. The theme of it is, and the name of it is called Sell Hope. And that's what it is. It's OG Bobby Johnson is able to appeal to the gangbangers because he the OG of this set. I know what it is. See, what happens is the OGs of the sets don't come out and tell you that the shit that you thought was real is bullshit. They still trying to keep the name and the fame off the bullshit. They're not coming out saying, look, I created this shit. I'm telling you right now that this is the way we need to go, because they're going to follow you because you're a leader. So you just got to direct them differently.
So
your cipher was. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, man.
So I think what really re-sparked some, a lot of discussion around your name in the past couple of weeks, months, is how you responded to the Lucas Joyner joint. What was missing in his "I'm Not a Racist" piece that you felt like you had to make your response, and which was phenomenally dope? And you know what I'm saying? And is he just wrong, or does he just need some coaching?
He needs some coaching. He's a good kid, man. He's a dope artist, and just the idea alone was genius. And his concepts, like, I'm a fan. Like, his concepts that he come up with are genius. I just think that when you step into this is my realm. So I feel like I'm an authority on what it is that you speak of, because I understand the history, understand the dynamics of racism, understand how white supremacy plays a role, understand how we as people uphold white supremacy by not even knowing how we look down our own people because we've been taught to think that. Because we've been taught to think that everybody that's doing something that's not according to how whites move is something that's ignorant or stupid. So I understand that. So when I listen to his initial song, I understand. And then you have to take into account that this is a biracial young man who has a white and a black parent. So his viewpoint is different than the average black individual. His viewpoint, he probably got a bunch of white friends that know he's a black kid, and they sitting around and asking them questions about why your blacks always do this and this is what he's been trained to think. And he might, even if he attach himself to his black sides at times, his mind is being trained to think something else and see certain things in a different viewpoint. As with anybody, you know what I'm saying? When you take somebody outside of a community and you put them in these big houses and take them out of the community, they look and say, oh, I don't want to be a part of the ghetto. They just do this, and they start to, put these false narratives on you. So me understanding the reality and the history of where all the things that he spoke of in this song came from, I felt that it was a necessity because people were just dismissing the song. It was so many people that were so angry. My inbox was overflooded with people that were so angry. And initially when I listened to it, I'm like, it's a dope song. I just listened to it from creativity. I didn't even listen to all the stuff. And when I sat back and I said, okay, I understand what people are angry at. And I think that I have the ability and the respect and have enough qualification and understanding of this subject to be able to give a perspective that people who think like me or who feel like it wasn't done properly will say that's what I was talking about. So that was just my goal, to properly represent black people. Because when you listen to that song, it's just a white man telling us how much we ain't shit, and you got a young black boy that's just trying to tell you, well, I know I ain't shit, but you don't understand why. And not giving.
Let me flip it too, because in your cipher, which I don't know, you could tell me which one. In my opinion, the BET cipher, you just murdered it. I mean, the Flex, freestyle is dope, but the BET cipher was so on point. You just murdered it. But in that cipher, as well as in one of your posts, you talk about, these niggas is lying to you. And you talk about the Instagram and Instagram being a scam. Mm-hmm. And I think, and if you can dive into just breaking down to the young cats that these niggas is lying to you, and I hate to say it that way, but it's the truth. But unfortunately, the young black kids, the youth, they get caught up into believing that such and such got a Rolls Royce or such and such is a gangster, and they not.
And that's what
go ahead.
Or flying private, flying private.
And they're not flying private.
That's why you got to fight, and that's why you got to expose that. You can't peacefully coexist with sucker shit. You understand what I'm saying? And if you know it's wrong and you just scared to say something because you don't want to disturb the status quo, then you just as wrong as them. So it's like me being in jail, right? And this is what I equate it to all the time. It's like coming from prison, understand that there's nothing in prison. Understand good people are dying in prison. It's dudes who never see light of day, who are probably more educated and more qualified to do some more shit than anybody, and they never gonna see light of day, and they have evolved past bullshit. So when you come home and you hear somebody glorifying prison to a kid and having a conversation with him, I'm not gonna sit there and say, yo, it's none of my business. I'm gonna walk over there and say, why are you lying to that kid like that? Ain't nothing cool about no fucking jail. And I'm gonna punk you in front of the kid so that the kid can understand that you're not even who you said you are. Because now that's what they respect. Unfortunately, you can't just say, oh, these dudes ain't tough. You got to show them that these dudes ain't tough. And it's not about whether you want to start trouble, but it's just understanding that these dudes are threatening the existence of these kids. So if I'm gonna die for something, or I'm gonna put my life on the line for something, it's for that. I'm not gonna let you poison these kids and peacefully coexist with you, or just try to be cool with you, and why you disrespecting our kids. I'm gonna call you. I'm gonna tell you a sucker. I'm gonna say that's some sucker shit you doing, my nigga. Like, matter of fact, you can't even go down the block. Cause now these kids gonna realize, damn, this is cause you not even qualified to have this conversation. And I know that because I've been around and I know, and I'm actually one of these people that's able to call you out on that bullshit. So my approach is that way. My approach is not comfortable. You're not gonna like me if you're not real, if you're not authentic. And real doesn't mean you tough or this and that. But if you're not authentic and being truthful about who you are and what it is, then you're gonna feel uncomfortable around me. And I'm comfortable with that. I don't need you to be comfortable around me if you're not even who you say you are. So that's why a lot of people in the industry, they veer away from me. Cause I can see through you. We're not gonna play the key games. Nah. If you real, I don't care if you a school kid. I don't care if you, whatever it is, you could be a gay man or whatever it is. If that's who you are, I'm gonna respect you as such. But don't step outside of what you are and try to give false narratives and lead these kids astray when you're not even living comfortable with who you saying you are.
Because I asked that because, as I segue into the political part of it, and it could be as you point out, the suckers in this situation, you look at some of these cats out here who are not exercising their, right to vote. They saying they're not going to vote. They not, they're not down with voting, so forth and so on. What is your position? Because I know I saw, your speech at the Women's March in Vegas, and the power to the polls, and we all know that voting is important. Is it kids looking to the wrong examples and that is not taking them to the polls, or are they just not interested in politics at all?
Well, this is the reality. They've been taught that, and they have a very real reason to believe so, that their vote really doesn't count. And I understand the mentality. And to a certain degree, I kind of agree. But being inside of this politics and being around politicians and understanding how the government works, there has to be a two-pronged strategy. It's about us empowering ourselves financially and putting ourselves in position to create our own government. But as we doing that, we have to transfer and put people in the government that represent us and what it is that we want to see. So while we understand that we got to empower ourselves, and the government might have to be changed, while we doing that, we have to strategically put people in power that are going to fight and advocate on our behalf, so that we slowly take over the government. Because we understand how the government should be written. We understand the things that are not there. But so if we raising kids every day and we educating them and we telling them, and these same kids that we grow up with, seeing the same disenfranchised communities that we come from and seeing injustice, and we start putting those people in office, then slowly but surely we start to change that around. And as we changing that around, we're empowering ourselves. Now all we doing is fortifying our position. So I get people saying, the government has to be dismantled. It has to be changed. The structure that is set up is not meant for us to win. And that's what happened with Obama. So that's why I understand why people are frustrated. They looked at our first black president, understand that he had every intention in the world to try to change things, but the structure that he was in was never going to allow him. So what we got to do is change the infrastructure from the inside. Unfortunately, we can't just break the building down. So what we got to do is renovate each apartment one by one and change the structure of the building, because we're not going to be able to just break this shit down, because we're not in a position to do so. We don't even understand how it's going to take. We're not ready to go to a physical war with them, which would take, if you look through our history, all governments have failed. empires have failed when they no longer met the needs of the people. And I think we're at that stage. I think we're at the stage now where the government does not represent the people anymore. So we understand
in regards
that.
So in regards to building our own, is that the same thing for the Grammys? Because, we all saw Jay-Z last night walk away with no Grammys, which I'm sure everybody in the entire world is like, how does Jay-Z lead the nominations and not win one award? And I saw, on your post where you were saying that, it's important for us to be able to have our own platforms. Is that the answer, or is it still trying to?
It's the same thing. Hey, it's the same process. It's create our own platforms and at the same time transform the platforms that exist. You don't have to do either or. You can do both, and that's what we get caught up in. I'm just gonna go do this. No, why we change? Because this is the platform that exists right now. So if we are able to continue to transform that, why are we creating our own? And by the time we create our own and we merge it with how we done infiltrated theirs, now what we did is we made sure on all fronts that we are. See, if we continue to try to build our own while they fortifying theirs, because they already got a head start, and we continue to let them continue to fortify their government, continue to fortify what it is they're doing, then we don't really gain any ground. You understand what I'm saying? We're not changing the narrative. We're not even making the people that see things might see things in our way, because we're not putting no pieces in place that are representing us in those. So right now, the government, every time we put a new piece in somebody that represents the people, that represents what we need, they change the mind of somebody else that we might not be able to reach as we build in ours. So now they giving us more allies. You understand what I'm saying? When Trump goes in office and the Women's March, which I'm a part of, comes together, we utilize that platform to be able to speak to people that normally wouldn't even listen to us, and be able to put people in office because they so tired of the status quo and the way it's not working. Now we created a whole nother demographic to get in line with what it is that we are talking about. We make ourselves stronger. And as we do that, we continue to empower ourselves on our own.
Gotcha. So, Mysonne, let me, this is the part of the podcast, man, that we put a lot of pressure, whether you're in the music business, whether you're a financial advisor who we had last week, no matter if you're a shoe salesman, we really, 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 and if you need a few minutes to kind of get yourself together to figure this out, we need your top 5, and we need you to tell us why each person has that position in your top 5 of all time.
MCs, top 5.
No, watch this. I didn't even want to say MC.
Oh, you want to say? Okay, we're gonna take.
I just wanted him to hit me with his top 5, because you know what? He might throw something else in there that might not be on the MC realm, but we need his top 5.
I don't think that he's going to say Little Uzi Vert.
That's what I'm saying, because we can't, and no shade
to the MCs.
Right, and no shade the Little Uzi, you know what I'm saying? That's Don Cannon's thing, but we, on this podcast, we don't consider that to be on the MC realm. So that's why I had to hit him with the top 5. So what you got, brother?
I would say Tupac, Nas, Rakim,
I'm feeling good right now. This is
a spot where a lot of people might say Dylon.
That's what
no Dylon.
I just want to say, I'm not trying to put your top 5, but being from the Bronx, you can't leave a BX out. So
I mean, no. Already, that's where I'm at. I'm just trying to figure out what order. It's okay. 2 more, so I'm just trying to figure out. But okay, so I got to say KRS-One, and then I'm gonna say Jay-Z.
There we go.
That's a hard 5. But
that's what I think. Yo, that's a strong 5.
Fellas, for the top 5, I think we had to take that 5, which is kind of like a transformational 5. Remember when, like, all of a sudden they started doing on it was Wheel of Fortune. They just were like, look, we're gonna give you RSTLNE. that you got to come up with some more, because that that 5 is a hard 5. It can't be really disputed.
But here's the deal. No. I'm down with his 5, but I kind of might want to do a trade. And
you taking Pac out?
There's nobody to trade.
Come on, son. Out? Wait, whoa. Let me get this with mine. I feel like I gotta put Big in there somewhere, but I don't know where I'm going. You know what I'm saying? I don't know who's going to get traded, because his 5 was strong.
In my top 10. I just can't say 5, man.
Tell me why. Tell me why.
Let me tell you why. Because I feel like not all of the people I'm talking about. Like, I think Jay took what Big was doing and took it to the next level. I think nobody that's in my top 5, nobody took what they was doing to the next level yet. I think what Pac did, nobody took to the next level. I think Rakim was in a class by himself. I think KRS-One was in a class by himself. Indeed. I think, you know what I'm saying? So, and I think Nas is in a class, but I don't think nobody has elevated what any of them have done. I think Jay took the blueprint that Biggie set, and he took that somewhere else. He transcended what Biggie's blueprint, but I don't think nobody has transcended none of those 5 to me.
That certainly is a hard 5, and I think, you know what I'm saying, at this point we got to figure out how we gonna find a way for people to put Mysonne in their top 5. So tell us about the new music that you got coming out.
I got an album that I'm gonna release in a minute called Sell Hope. That is a phenomenal album. Project is dope, and right now I'm just working on who's gonna distribute it. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm working on. I'm working on who's gonna distribute the album right now.
Who you been working with on that? I mean, as far as the production wise, any names, any folks that we should be aware of?
Not really. I got a lot of up and coming new producers on the album, and I'm working on doing a project with Premier and DJ Scratch. They want to do some work, and Kick Reed. So I'm working on doing a classic like hip hop feel album. Mm-hmm. But right now, this album right here is gonna be a lot of producers you probably never heard.
That's what's up. And right now you're still working on distribution, but you will let 3 Black Guys with the Mic get a little crack at that once you're ready to have the world here, right?
Yes, sir.
Oh. Yes, sir. And tell us a little bit before we let you go how we can urge people, impress upon people, how we can help people donate to the family in the Bronx.
Lamont just sent me a text and said he was going to match Angie Martinez.
Oh,
we definitely need him.
We're gonna get close.
There's a website that's on Bronx Blaze. It's on. I think that it's still in my. If it's not still in my, on my Instagram page, then they have a website. We have a website that I could. Let me see. For Bronx, let me find it real quick. But there's a website that we have.
I know when you go to GoFundMe, it's on GoFundMe as Help for Bronx Blaze.
That's right. There you go. The GoFundMe is Help for Bronx Blaze, and you can donate anything. We still collecting. We're gonna have every dime is going straight to the families. We're not. This is not, and that's why we wanted to do it. We wanted to assure that the families get the money, and it's not some Red Cross situation where, you don't know what happened to the money and the family saying, oh, they never got anything. So that's what we did it for.
Mysonne, man, we thank you so very much, man. You definitely enlightened us. Keep doing your thing, keep blazing. I'm glad to see, the growth, and I hope that more people continue to catch up to what it is that you're saying, and the things that you're dropping, the knowledge that you're spitting. I encourage everybody to go to Mysonne's Instagram page and look at his cipher on BET, but go and check out his post on These Niggas Is Lying to You. Y'all need to know that these niggas is lying to you. That is just real talk. What do we do in the new year? We always try to change our eating habits. We want to be better. We want to eat healthier. And we want to make sure that we're putting the right things in our body. So we want to make sure that we're eating fresh food for 2018. No more frozen food. That's why we're sending you to Wendy's. Guess what? Wendy's is even gotten bigger on the 4 for $4. Now you got 8 choices instead of 4 choices. Yes, a junior bacon cheeseburger, a junior cheeseburger deluxe, a double stack, crispy chicken sandwich, a crispy chicken BLT, a grilled chicken wrap, or a spicy chicken wrap. You can get all that with a 4-piece nugget, a small drink, and a fry. All at Wendy's. So head over to Wendy's, get yourself something fresh for lunch or dinner, or if you're just in the mood for a snack. So head over to Wendy's right now and get yourself a Wendy's 4 for $4 with 8 choices. Offer not valid in Alaska and Hawaii. Now, back to the show. Isiah is with us, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Three Black Guys with the Mic. I'm so sorry. I was so, intrigued with Isiah and Tyler, the Creator. Isiah, yes. Please tell our listeners who you are and what you do.
Okay, I'm a 17-year-old fashion designer and a painter. So what I usually do is I run a clothing brand under the name of Full Circle Nation out of North Carolina. We're a streetwear brand and collective. We make art, we make clothes, we do skate videos, stuff like that. And I'm the runner of that. And then outside of that, I like to paint sometimes, and then I'm a big hip-hop fan, so I really listen to a lot of music pretty much all the time.
Man, you don't run no daggone website called FullCircleNation.com with no clothing line, and you just 17 years old. You making me feel horrible about myself. Like
exactly.
Renegotiate with myself how I can feel happy. I'm old enough to have wine, however. So,
man, you have more than wine, Maynard. You have more than wine.
I know.
Right.
But Isiah, speaking on a fashion tip in FullCircleNation.com, and congratulations on the website.
Thank you.
And we kind of talked about Tyler, the Creator, because in the movement that he put, and I'm sure you're looking to do the same thing,
yes.
In regards to Tyler's movement in Golf Wang, and in the way that he was able to not use any marketing, any advertising, or anything of that nature. If you can speak to his success in what he did in regards to tapping into his market and his movement, and how you're going to do the same thing.
Sure.
If that makes sense.
Okay, so Tyler as an artist, he was what he wanted to do, if I recall correctly, he wanted to make films, but he didn't really have the money to go out and make films when he was like 17 or 18. But he knew how to play the piano, and he knew how to rap. So for his first few albums, he would record the album, he would record mixtape as a story. So his first 3 albums were stories, and it got a lot of people enthralled into just the idea of everything he does, into his whole world, into the music videos he eventually got to create. And so really everything Tyler does is him. So the clothes he made in the videos, he would put up for sale, and people would like them because they were attached to certain characters in the story. And from there, it just kind of grew. And so I wouldn't say he necessarily used no marketing. I think his marketing was just centered entirely on him, if that makes sense.
So, I mean, I'm still trying to figure this part out.
Yeah.
If you feel like, if the Grammys is about who has the best.
Okay.
And
wait, who said the Grammys is about who had the best, though?
Okay.
Shots fired, Maynard. What you got? We got a 17-year-old on the line. What you got, Maynard? What you got?
My dude, I can have this if you just shut up.
Okay. All right.
Just, be humble. So, you said that Kendrick and Jay's offerings were both better than Tyler.
Yeah,
but you would prefer that Tyler had won. But what does winning actually necessarily do for Tyler? If he's nominated among the best, is that not enough? If his offering wasn't as good as theirs?
So when I say Jay-Z's and Kendrick's were better, I think what I mean by that is that holistically, when you look at it, not just from like a biased fan standpoint, but like what an average listener could come into and listen and be comfortable listening to, I think Jay-Z's and Kendrick Lamar's offerings were better in that kind of sense. And what Tyler could gain from it is he's come a long way. And I think as a fan of him, I know that he's not always had the best standing with the mainstream audience. And I think that could have given him a lot of footing with the mainstream audience that he hasn't had for the past like decade.
Can y'all give me a minute because I'm trying to look up this word holistic that he said. I want to make sure I'm on point.
I thought you wanted to also look up disenfranchised from the previous.
Again, I'm trying to get all of this down. Hold on a second, Isiah. I want to make sure I'm up to scale. Go ahead, Maynard. I'm sorry.
So let's get to it. Tell us a little bit about how the culture has really changed, and I'll share with you. I'm a little bit older than you. I'm
not a little bit.
Yeah, I'm older than you. And I remember as a kid, like, there was one thing that black kids, for the most part, kind of didn't do. Like black dudes we didn't skateboard. That wasn't really our thing. And I remember going back to the college, going back to work on my graduate work in 2006 and being on campus, and I was seeing all these young black men carrying skateboards, and I was just like, what is this? This is a whole new thing. So what's that about?
I think it's just accepting that you can kind of have an interest in whatever you want, whether it's skateboarding or something else entirely, like comics or anime or whatever you want, and it not having to be like a white person thing or a white dude thing. It can just be something that you like.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And when you were involving yourself with skating, were there people in, let's call it the black mainstream?
Yeah.
Were they rejecting you, or were you finding that? Because I fashioned myself as a big teenager, but I'm learning now that I'm not nearly as close to the culture as I thought I was.
Mm-hmm. From what I've seen, not really, because I'm not really a big skateboarder myself, but I know a lot of my friends are. So really, I haven't seen a lot of pushback. But then again, we do kind of stick to ourselves in a sense. If that makes
Isiah?
Yes.
Who's the top 5 rappers out right now?
Wait. You push right into that, Spud.
What? Not of all time. Who's the top 5 rappers out right now?
In his opinion. You have to premise this correctly.
Do you have an opinion on who's the top 5 rappers out right now?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't know. You know what I mean? Because he's getting ready to say something that I'm probably.
You don't know what he's gonna say.
Oh, good gracious!
Lamont, fall back, my dude.
he's almost an adult.
Okay. We just don't want to commit no child labor laws here, man.
No.
Okay, so top 5 right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so I think Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, Chance the Rapper, I think is really great. He's going to be a lot better in the coming years whenever he releases his next project. I would say for being how influential he is, I would say a person like Young Thug kind of deserves to be there. And then a 5th spot might be kind of hard. So I'm gonna leave it at 4 right now, and if I get to a 5th spot, I'll let you know.
So what are your thoughts on Young Thug and your fashion guy? What is your thoughts on Young Thug and his fashion and the way he has pushed past the norm? I'm even gonna even say Jaden Smith, where they are no longer allowing identity to I guess represent who they are as whether it be male or female. They're not using, fashion in a gender sense.
Right.
They're okay with wearing dresses, and that's okay.
Well, I think fashion as a whole is like expressing yourself to someone from the moment they see you. So I think if that's who you want to express yourself as, whether it's wearing a dress or a graphic T-shirt or a hat or anything else, that's what you want to express yourself as. I think it's important that we allow people to express themselves as who they want to be.
So when you look out in the hip hop space, and we're not necessarily talking music always, right? Because hip hop includes so many elements that it started with, was built on, but even today I think it's grown. But there's art, there's the clothing, there's obviously the music, the things that I think people typically recognize. Who's really inspiring you? Who's getting you? Who's making you step your game up with FullCircleNation.com?
Definitely Tyler, the Creator. He's probably the biggest inspiration. just because of the way he's done things from the beginning. Donald Glover, because the fact that he's a younger black man and he can do so many things from acting to music to directing to comedy. He inspires me to push myself in not just clothing, but in everything else that I do. Yeah, I think those two people are definitely.
So if you can, because these are two old heads and they don't know anything about Tyler the Creator.
Whoa, my dude.
You know,
I'm gonna ask you kindly, sir, not to malign my name. Okay. I'm hip, my dude.
Word up! I'm right behind you, man.
We're about to see. We're about to see. You know how that using fresh
or dope.
I'm still fresh in these streets, my dude. I got a dope.
Is dope still working?
I'm still using hot. And that's not even hot anymore.
And I don't want fighting my style out here, yo.
So Isiah, if you can explain to these two guys, I have a daughter in the house, so I'm a little, hip to Tyler and his movement and how big his movement really is and what his impact is on hip hop.
Okay.
And the culture, so that way they can get a bit of an understanding of why he's significant. Because we had the Grammys conversation a couple of weeks ago, and Maynard was like, I don't even know why Tyler the Creator is even in the category. So if you can let him understand why it's important for Tyler to even be nominated for a Grammy, and his movement and how important it is to the culture of hip hop.
Yeah. Well, my first question would be, have you listened to the album like in completion?
I've tried, but I have absolutely wanted to turn it off every time I've heard more than 36 seconds.
Well, how many seconds, man?
36.
Okay, so, all right, so I can't really say anything to that piece then, but I think for a lot of people, it is a great album. The production is amazing. It's some of the best that's come out this year. The instrumentation, all the instruments that have been used on it. His lyricism is up to par. It's some of the best lyricism he's ever expressed. It's one of the most deeply emotional albums that have come out this year, and personal albums that have come out within the realm of hip hop this year. So I think on that basis alone, I think it deserves to be nominated.
Okay.
So you haven't listened to the whole album, though?
I've listened to the whole album.
Okay.
But every time
But you've listened to every song 36 seconds.
Right, so that's not the whole album, man.
I have listened to the whole album.
Okay.
But I have not found it to be. It's not for me.
Okay.
And I'm not, and really, moreover, I have to admit the personality that I see. I'm not for that. And maybe I am an old head, but I came to Tyler the Creator a couple of years back, so I'm not new to him like with the Flower Boy album. And I remember all his antics on MTV, and then obviously coming in the what's the show he came on, yeah. And I because I low key, I got a couple of MTV shows that are my guilty pleasure. I need a little ridiculous in my life and stuff like that. And so I would see him, and I'm old school black people, like the pranks and the punching each other, giving each other wedgies and that kind of stuff. And
Maynard. Can you please clarify what is old school black people? What is that?
I'm just not. I can't get down with the pranking and the constantly pulling his pants down and the weird stuff that I just like. I'm uncomfortable with that. I can't get there, man.
My question would be, what do you mean by weird stuff necessarily?
I think
we're going to interview Maynard now. This is good. This is good. Yeah. What do you mean, Maynard?
There was a lot of on television, a lot of homosexual innuendo between he and Taco. Okay. That was his boy. His boy's name was Taco, right?
Yeah.
Did you just Google that?
No. I know a little Taco, little light skinned boy. And not that homosexuality is an issue. And I understand that he's come out now, or so. Is that what's the latest with Tyler?
Was that a rumor?
It's a rumor. he's mentioned it in his music. I'm not gonna make a statement on if he is or not. I would just assume he might be a bisexual or something like that, but I have no idea really, because he hasn't really made any other comments outside of his album.
Yeah, and so as a result, I just was like, yo, man, can't you? I felt the first time I seen him in his shows, I felt like he was cooning for MTV, and that's what really kind of put me in a whole new space. I gotta say, I was uncomfortable with that. Then so I tried to listen to his music. In fact, somebody had given me an iTunes music gift card a couple of years back when what was the album? 2 albums back of his
Wolf.
Yeah, I bought that with that.
Okay.
I wasn't happy with that
was that a badge of honor that we're going with there, Maynard? I'm not feeling like,
I mean, all of the songs and all the albums on iTunes, and you bought the Wolf album.
With your gift card.
Right. I wasn't going to buy it with my own money.
So Isiah, so do me a favor. So Isiah, so tell me the significance of the lake on, your on the Full Circle tee. And can we get a Full Circle tee? Because I like the logo, but I don't see any Full Circle tees with the logo on it.
Yeah.
Are you going to get some logo shirts?
All right, so I'll start with the answer to the logo shirts. I kind of want for now, I just want it to be my art. So, like, I do have the logo on the hat because you can't really put a big design on a hat. So that's just the only option that's on a hat. But for T-shirts, I want it to kind of build itself up as a brand before I kind of carry the logo as important as it is, if that makes sense. Because I do think a logo is important, but I think I want people to subscribe to the meaning of the brand and buy into why they like the brand before they just start becoming like just a whole advertiser for a brand that other people have no idea what it is. Because to a lot of people, it just looks like 3 circles and they don't know the meaning behind it until they can see a couple other designs with it. That makes sense, right?
Yep, makes sense to me.
All right. And then the lake, really what I do when I drawing designs is I just kind of draw a bunch in class, out of class, just on the sketchbook, wherever. And then I just take the ones that I really like and I try and liven them up and then make them interesting in whatever way I can. So the lake, to me, is I like to go camping. I went camping with my uncle, I think 2 years ago, and we just chilled at a lake and I drew. And it was just a good memory for me. So that's why I put it on a shirt.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about what's next for you, my man. What grade are you in school?
I'm a senior.
You're a senior, and what's the next step? We're off to college, or are you just going to pursue just clothing? Or are you going to fashion institute? What's the deal?
I'm gonna go to college. I want to go to college for something business, art related. So probably a mix of marketing and advertisement, since that's like the perfect mix between the two. And then I'm definitely going to pursue the brand, definitely all the way through college, and I want to work as hard as I can on the brand for the next 4 years and kind of come out on the other side with the degree. And if the brand is at a point where I can pursue it full time, then that'll definitely be the route I take. If it's not necessarily there, but I can kind of use it to help me get to another position, whether it's at another fashion house or if it's helping other people doing freelance or something else, then I'll definitely pursue those things as well.
And what schools are you leaning towards? Because, it's January. You got to be in school in September. Yeah. And you know what I'm saying? Right there in Carolina, you got A&T. They got a good business program. Tell me that you interested in one of these HBCUs.
Well, currently I'm a student at the early college at A&T, which means for the first 2 years I took all high school classes. And then so now and last year I've been taking all of my classes, college courses at A&T. So I have had some experience at the business department in A&T, and I really like it. But I think I'm leaning towards Wake Forest, which has a really good school, and then UNC Asheville.
Well, ladies and gentlemen,
you okay, Maynard? You okay? He said he did some stuff at A&T already.
Yeah.
So we're good, Maynard. You okay?
I am here right now.
Yeah. So you okay, Maynard? Did we lose him?
I'm here.
Well, Isiah, I do have a quick question. Since you did leave number number 5 open. Can we put Rhapsody in there?
No. She's great.
Whoa! Spud's like, no. What do you mean?
Can we put Remy in there?
Yo, dude. No. we just don't want him to leave and not feel number 5, man. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Earl Sweatshirt or Vince Staples, they're both really great. They're left to field artists, but I'll speak on Vince Staples for a second. Each of his albums is different sonically, and he's still been able to bring some of the best bars from a person his age in our generation in a long time. So I think if anyone would take it, he would take it.
Now, you know what? I don't know if I'm mad at that. You know, I don't get 100% Vince on the mic, but off the mic is amazing. Every time he opens his mouth, every time he does an interview, you can just tell like he's been here before. Yeah. So somebody at his age and his wisdom and the people that he has around him and, the things that he does and how he moves musically, I get it. So I'm okay with that. But I still am going to, since this is our podcast, I'm going to force Rhapsody to be like 5.5. You know what I mean?
Oh, my dude. You have not been watching TV, the Me Too movement? We don't force people to do anything anymore. My man, we are not forcing folks. My dude, if you got that 4 and you want to put Vince in there, that's your business. It's okay.
So I can't force a 5.5 on his.
No, my man.
All right, bro. Okay. All right, I'm done.
Thank you, Isiah, man. Yeah. We truly appreciate you, bro.
Yes, sir.
Good luck and congratulations.
You're the leader. You're the leader for tomorrow, my dude. You are the leader.
I don't know if you're the leader of tomorrow, but you're one of them. I'm just kidding. No, I'm just joking. It is really good to, see young black men doing something positive. We talk a lot about what black kids are not doing, and it's good to see, one who is as smart as you and as entrepreneurial as you and focused as you. So continue to do your thing, man. I'm going to buy a shirt. Well, I'm going to buy a hat right now because I only like the logo. So when you get the logo shirts, I'll get a shirt. But I'm going to give me a hat right now.
All right. Awesome.
Thank you so very much for joining us for this episode of 3 Black Guys with the Mic. We'll be back again next Tuesday, Black History Month. We're starting it off with Understanding White Supremacy with attorney Laree Favors. We got a banging February, so make sure you stick around. Make sure you join the conversation with us as well at facebook.com/3blackguyswiththemic. Also go to our website at 3blackguyswiththemic.com. Support Mysonne the General. Go to mysonne-ny.com. and get his brand new music. Order you a shirt at fullcirclenation.com from Isiah, as well as support Mysonne and the Bronx Funeral Fund. You can go to GoFundMe, type in Help Bronx Funeral Fund, make a donation, $5, $10, $100, $10,000, whatever you got. We would love for you to, donate, support him. He's out here doing great things. We'll do it again next Tuesday with Laree Favors right here on 3 Black Guys with the Mic.